Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Locs Talk Live with Pammie. Hello. First and foremost, I want to apologize for my absence last week. Unfortunately, I suffered from a pretty bad um, abscess on one of my front teeth, and it had my whole face. So I woke up kind of looking Quasimodo-ish. Therefore, I was not camera ready. I was not getting on camera. Speaking of getting on camera, my lips are chapped, so I have to put some lip gloss on because I'm looking a little bit crazy here. So give me a second. Man, that got a shine to it, don't it? I'm using my camera as a mirror because I ain't got no mirror in front of me. Hmm. And with some of these questions that I have to answer this evening, I should have brought my mirror in here, but I didn't. Anyway, I want to apologize for my absence last week. I still have a little minor swelling going on here, but nothing that's going to stop me from getting on camera today. I kept my hair down today. I actually had it up a few minutes ago, and I realized that I have to demonstrate some stuff to you guys. So I put it down for today. Okay. Also, I want to get right into this. But it was a good idea also that I wasn't on air last week either because abruptly one of my dear childhood friends passed away, and that made it even hard for me to want to even talk to anybody. We haven't seen each other for a number of years, but we did keep in touch over social media, talking to each other, and just watching each other's lives flourish and grow. And she was getting up there, and then this shit happens. Um, so my thoughts and prayers go to her family, her children, her siblings. My heart is with you. I love you. Keeping you in prayer. All right, so let's see who just came in and said something. Hi, Lisa. How are you, sweetheart? Good to see you. So I have a bunch of questions here that was downloaded and sent to me in my instant messenger, DMs, private message, whatever, email, a few texts. And so, yeah, I'm going to answer those questions. Some of them are going to require a little bit of demo work, but I will do the best that I can to answer your questions. Um, Again, my name is Pammie. I am a loctician and organic natural hair care provider, as well as a lockologist. Lockologist simply is the study of locks. I'm not here to step on no toes or take over somebody's title. I study locks. That's what I do, right? A loctician, generally, that's what it is. I start, maintain, educate, and support my clients who have locks. Organic natural hair care specialist. And one of the questions that was asked tonight will kind of touch on what I do. I care for your natural hair. It is natural texture. It is natural state without ever altering it. That means that I do not use any heat or chemical processing to straighten your hair or change the texture of your hair whatsoever. With the exception of coloring, which sometimes is requested, but I use organic colors such as colorances, henna, things like that, or organic dyes. But I do not bleach hair. A hard boundary is. A hell no, I don't do that either. Can I do it? Yeah, but I don't. That is not what I represent. So I'm going to go in the comments. Somebody else. Hi, Vanessa. You made it back. Welcome back, Vanessa. And you have questions. Okay, so make sure you put your questions in the comments so that I don't miss them, because I do have some already in my banner that was sent to me. So if you have additional questions, please put them in the comments. As a matter of fact, yeah, as I go, just make sure you ask your questions that you have, Vanessa. Okay. Um, in the future, when I do a Q&A live and I put a post asking for questions, it's okay for you to send them in advance. It gives me more information so that I can prepare um, to answer and give you all of the information, because sometimes the question will require me doing additional research. So I want to make sure that I get your answer to you on live day. So in the future, anytime you have a question, shoot it to me prior to, so that I can make sure that I have it in my queue and everything ready for you. Okay. So we're going to jump right into it. A lot of the questions that I received was around locks. I have a few natural hair questions, but most of the questions that were sent to me were about locks. So I know I call this Locs Talk, and I explained before what it is. Locs Talk is generally the name of my blog. um, and the reason why I call it Locs Talk, because generally I'm locked. And yeah, primarily, most of my clients, I would say locks to natural, the ratio of clients from lock to natural is every 3 lock clients, I have 1 natural client. Okay. All right. So let's see. Vanessa said, I know you've gone over this before, but what oils are good for scalp dryness? Okay. So I'm going to cue that. This is her first. So I'm going to go right into the questions. So the question was, I know you've gone over this before, but what oils are good for scalp dryness? It's a lot of oils that's really good for scalp dryness, but I'm going to focus on my top 3 oils that I like to use for scalp dryness, right? I like to make a blend using a carrier oil and putting lavender oil, jojoba oil, fractionated coconut oil, all in one little bottle. Now, when I put lavender oil, you have to remember with essential oils is only a certain number of drops per ounce. Okay, it's very easy to look up. You can just simply say how many drops of essential oil per ounce of whatever that essential oil is. Ask how many drops of this is required to blend with 1 ounce of oil. Because all of my oil bottles is about an ounce, so they're not that big. Okay. Um, Jojoba oil is absolutely really, it's good for scalp dryness as well. Not only is it good for scalp dryness, but it's also good for keeping your hair soft and well nourished. And my third favorite um, oil that's really good for your scalp to keep dryness under control is argan oil. Argan oil is absolutely fantastic for keeping your scalp from being too dry. And it nourishes it. It has omega-3s and all kinds of things in it. It also keeps your hair really soft and gives it a beautiful glow, right? Um, Another blended oil I like to use is by Pammie for Locs, and that is this blended oil here. It's pineapple scented, and you see how loose and watery it is. I don't know if you can tell how it's moving in there, but it's a spray nozzle on the top, and you generally see how it creates a mist and spray it onto your hair. You can also spray it directly onto your scalp. So oftentimes when I do a retwist, I like to use this to oil the scalp of the client, so it's not overbearing with oil. I still put drops here and there, and I put some in my hand and also put it in their hair. But lavender oil, believe it or not, is really great for growth as well as keeping the dryness under control. Jojoba oil, absolutely fantastic for helping keep dryness under control. Fractionated coconut oil is excellent for keeping dryness under control. These are all very good for keeping your hair soft as well. I hope this does answer your question, Vanessa. Any additional questions, feel free to put them in the comments. So, first question that I received, what are locks? Locks are, simply put, it is hair that's confined together um, and bonded together by use of coiling, braids, two-strand twists. It's a style because, again, there's going to be another question about locks too. It's a hairstyle and lifestyle combination. But how they are derived is basically you can coil your hair, comb coils, braids, two-strand twists, and then you have people that get instant locks also, which are crochet and it's very complicated to explain it without a demonstration. So that question is not on the board because I don't have a thing to demonstrate how to do that, and I'm not playing with my hair with no crochet needles tonight. We have another comment here. Thank you. I took notes. Okay. Yes, definitely take notes, please. All right. Next question was, what is the best method to start locks? There's no best method, so to speak. I will say this, though, there is what works best for the individual. All right. So there's no overall best method of how to start locks. But what's best for that individual, it's based on your hair texture, your hair type. And with that being said, yes, all hair is lockable. But we have to look at what best method and how you want your locks to kind of act because hair locks differently for coils versus braids versus two-strand twists. The stages that it goes through, as far as how it buds and things like that, will be a little bit different depending on how you start your locks. Coils, for example, you're going to get a lot of swelling of the coils, a lot of frizz, a lot of unraveling, and a lot of people do not have the mental capacity to deal with that, which is why we get into this habit of over twisting and consistently. Every time we see like puffiness and can't deal with that, we're retwisting, and then there becomes the discussion of why is my locks thinning? That's why. So if you cannot handle the poofiness and the frizziness, the excess of it that comes with locks that are started with comb coils, that may not be the best effort for you. If you are more trying to maintain a certain level of neatness, for example, you probably would want to start your locks with braids and or two-strand twists. Those kind of keep you in the more tamed territory of minimized frizz. However, with braids, you kind of almost have that instant shrinkage the same way you would if you did instant locks. Um, but it's going to look like braids for a minute. So be mindful of that too, right? Twist can start transforming into locks a lot sooner than braids can. However, the budding phase of locks that are started with two-strand twists can be just as challenging as if you started your locks with comb coils. Um, so it's just a matter of what works best for that individual client and what they are willing or not willing to tolerate throughout the process of the lock journey. Some people can't handle a lock journey at all, which is why they get instant locks because they like, I don't want to go through that. Um, Now, speaking of the budding phase and the quote unquote ugly phase are the same phrase of your lock journey. It's a very complex stage of your lock journey, the little bubbles and bumps and misshapen, weird looking locks. I can show you pictures of my hair when I was in the budding phase, and you'll be like, what the hell is that? So if you look at my hair now and I take you through a video of what my locks look like when throughout my journey, you'll understand the different stages are not permanent. It's just something you're passing through. And again, if you don't lock your mind into the fact that phases are simply a period of time that you're passing through, it can get up here. Like, so make sure you have the right psyche in mind when you are starting your lock journey. Don't just have the vision of, oh, I want my hair to look like that, and forget about all of the work that it takes to get there. That's like me. I'm a big girl. I could say I want to be slim and all of this stuff, but I know it's going to take work and hard ass work for me to get there. I can't snap my fingers. Even if I went to surgery, it's still going to be a period of time that I got to go through before I see an end result. So be ready. Just be ready for it. All right. Next question. Is there a way to check how thick my locks will get to help me determine the size of my parts? This question was a little bit complicated, but I was playing with this software. By the way, I'm streaming from StreamYard software. It is free, but they do have an upgrade where you can get a membership and do all kinds of stuff. Like if I do plan on upgrading by the end of this year. I've been testing it out throughout the year to see how well I like it. So at the end of the year, I am definitely leaning towards upgrading. That way, when I do Locs Talk Live, I can go live here, Facebook, and Instagram all at once. Ain't that dope? Yeah, so I'm going to be doing Locs Talk Live on more than one platform starting in January. Okay. But to answer that question, I did go in here. So I'm going to share my screen with you, right? So that I can explain what we're doing here. Okay. Share screen. Okay. All right. Hello. Can you all see me? Yes, you can. This is my son, Rick. The other day, I started twisting his hair, right? Now, this is after I washed his hair, and I lightly hand, with a cool dryer, blew dry his hair, right? And you see I'm twisting his hair in this picture, right? Now, I'm going to go to the next image, and I finished that first section. So you see how straight his twists look? They're just two strand twists. They kind of straighten all over the place, right? So this next image is the whole back of his head, right? As soon as it comes up. There we go. So this next image is the whole back of his head. Now, what I did in this next image, you notice that his locks are a little bit more swelled up, right? And the reason for that is because I spritzed them with some aloe vera refresher spray to just kind of help them swell up and kind of lock together. Not lock, but like just the coiling of the hair as it shrunk up, it pulled together, right? Then finally, at the end, when I was done, let's go back here. Okay. This is it when it's finished. So when I was done, you see that his twists are much more swelled up, right? That's pretty much the size, if those were going to be locks, that's pretty much the size his locks are going to become. Because based on the sizes that I parted his hair, after adding moisture to it and they swelled up, when you factor in hair that we no longer shed because we keep the hair, most of it, when we are growing out our locks, that's why the locks get larger inside. So I always explain to a person that, okay, stop screen sharing. I always explain to a person that when they decide on the size locks they want to have, you have to factor in that when we starting your locks, they are going to begin with an appearance of being a lot skinnier than what you thought they would be. Like when I started these, they were so skinny. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can even find. Um, if I can even find the image, I probably can. Let me see. 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 If I can find it, I am going to definitely bring it up on the screen so you guys can see it. Right? Um, I'm almost certain it's here. I'm just looking for the picture because I know I have it on here. I think I have a whole little video of my lock journey here. Give me a second. And I'm going to come back and get to those questions because I saw 3 questions come up in the comment. My goodness. Mm-hmm. If y'all hear noise in the background, my family's home, so I apologize for that. I don't see it, but I'll bring it up if I do find it. Anywho, I always explain to clients before I start in their locks when they decide what size locks they're going to have. They're going to appear smaller. Hi, Donnelly. How are you? Why are you jealous, Donnelly? What do you mean you're jealous? Why? What happened? Talk to me. Okay. Thank you, Lisa. I want to do twisting your hair this summer. I think your hair look cute with twists. The twisties. Not those, but like different twists. But I do want to do some twisting your hair. Okay. Oh, this is a great question. So moving on to the next question. What is the difference between locks and dreadlocks? Okay, I don't know if you all saw that I had a whole video um, talking about locks versus dreadlocks. Historically, a lot of people like to refer to saying locks is a style and dreadlocks is a lifestyle. I agree and disagree at the same time. But I have learned so much more in my studies of the significance behind the dreadlocks. And, dread meaning fear, as in fear of God. So, Nazarites, which is what Solomon was in the story of Samson, not Solomon, Samson and Delilah. Samson was a Nazarite and he had locks, and his locks gave him this massive, great strength. And so his locks was a symbolism of his devotion to God, which is generally the same mechanism between how Rastafarians, the same thing. It is the devotion of God. It's also with dreadlocks is more not just a hairstyle, but letting go of the significance of that beauty standard that is out there of what beautiful is supposed to be. So it's letting go of that too and just standing in your naturalness. So I think that's generally the difference. Locks is more aesthetic and neat. And that's why, people with locks like to retwist and always have their hair looking tamed and neat and things like that. But also people who have locks or refer to the term locks, they have this notion that dreadlocks means that their hair is dreadful, and they'll say nothing's dreadful about my hair. I have been guilty of this myself. I no longer state that because after I'm learning more information about locks and dreadlocks, I am all of the above. Whatever you refer to my hair as, whether it's locks, dreads, or dreadlocks, thank you. I love it all. And that's okay. So that's where I am with the difference between locks and dreadlocks. Generally spoken, is one is more geared toward a lifestyle. The other is more geared towards aesthetics and a hairstyle. Um, but overall, both gives you this sense of freedom and naturalness of self. That makes any sense. That's why I said yes and no. Right. So questions here. His parting, it's just twist. Those are not staying in forever. I'm not a person who cares that much about parting. So, but I do understand, Donnelly. Oh, Lisa, she said, okay, I'll try it. you, you've been considering starting your lock journey over, Donnelly? Make sure you think it through thoroughly. Just be sure that that's something you really thoroughly think through before, crossing the threshold of that. But I'll support you through it. Whatever way you go with it, I will support you through it. But I want to make sure you are certain of what you want. Okay? Moving forward. How long does locks take to lock? That's an excellent question. And again, it really depends on your hair texture and your hair type. Hair type, hair texture. I like to say hair texture because it's more about the texture that really determines how quickly your hair is going to lock. My hair texture is very soft and wavy. I don't have tight coily curls. So it took my hair a long ass time to lock. Like for my hair to fully lock, it took a minute for my hair to fully lock. Close to 2 years. And then the texture that you see here, it took another couple of years for it to get here because my locks used to be that soft Lisa. You know how, what's her name? Jesus Christ. From the Cosby Show, Lisa something, Lisa Bonet. Yeah, my locks used to be real soft looking like that. And if you ever see a close up picture of my locks, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like if you see it at the roots, you still can see like the softness. But when I leave it alone, it kind of just did this. I'm still in awe of how my hair transformed. I'm like, ah. But the length of time I have found that my clients who were like a 4C, they locked very, very quickly. Like I'm talking within 3 to 6 months, they were locked. Below that, 4A is 3C, 4A, anywhere from 6 to 9 months. Anything below that is always going to be a year or more before they fully are locked. I have a few clients that are like in the very softer stages of their hair type and texture, like mine, and it took anywhere from a year to 18 months to 2 years for their locks to fully lock. Like they were still budding almost more than 2 years into their journey. And then once they hit like maybe the 3 year mark, their locks finally took the shape, which mine did the same thing. I had like, it was getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer, and it still had the little fat booties, but now all of the booties got skinny. So it really depends on your hair texture. That will determine how long it takes for your hair to lock. Oftentimes people think that there are products out there that's going to make your hair lock faster. It's not, which is why I me personally don't like to use honey and wax for locks, because people tend to use that because they think it's going to make their locks lock faster, and it doesn't. And oftentimes builds up quite a bit in the hair. So products don't make your hair lock faster. Don't pile a bunch of stuff in your hair thinking that it's going to lock faster. Now, what I do know scientifically, this is a scientific fact, that when you have the early stages of your locks and you still have starter locks and developing locks, if you are at the beach and you go swimming, something about the salt water emulsifies your hair and it causes it to lock a little bit quicker. However, because the pH level of ocean water is so much higher than your hair, you cannot walk around with salt water in your hair all day long. It will dry the hell out of your hair, dehydrated, and jack up your locks before they even become locks. So that's a tightrope. You gotta balance that out. I always tell people, if you start your locks at the beginning of the summer and you like to go to the beach and all of that stuff, by all means do so. But make sure you rinse that salt water out of your hair so that it does not dehydrate your hair. You do not want to dehydrate your starter locks. That's the last thing you want to do. Going to the comments. You didn't hear me? Oh, I was saying, Donnelly. Okay, you didn't hear me because you was getting a call. I was saying that make sure if you do decide that you want to start a new lock journey, be sure to think it through thoroughly. I support you 100%, whichever way you go with it, but make sure it's something you want to do. Because I'm going to keep it a buck with you. If you do it and then you complain about it, I'm not listening to you because you didn't do. I'm kidding. I kid. I love you. But no, seriously, think it through before you make sure that it's something you definitely want to do. Why is my lips getting dry so quick? Maybe it's just me. So let's move to the next question. How do I wash my locks? The same way you wash your hair. It's no special way to wash your locks. However, there is a proper way of washing your hair. Now, I have a video on here. I'll put it down in the description when I do my editing, my description editing. I like to put like reference videos down there. Excuse me. But generally, when I wash my hair in 3 cycles. The first cycle, I start and I focus on my scalp. Now, when you're washing your hair, please do not use your fingernails to scratch your scalp. Your scalp is very sensitive like a peach. And if you scratch it, that means you're going to bruise it. If you bruise it, that leaves room for bacteria and infection to get into your scalp. Our fingernails carry bacteria. I don't care how much you wash your hands, your fingernails carry microscopic bacteria. So do not scratch your scalp with your fingernails, okay? And that's also a scientific fact, which is why when surgeons give you surgery, even though they go through all of the scrubbing and stuff, they still put on not 1, but 2 pair of gloves when they do operations. Did you know that? Medical training. That's what happens, okay? There are 2 pairs of surgical gloves that are worn by a surgeon that comes directly out of a pack. They don't come out of the box that everybody's been messing around with. So not only do they spend, and they have to scrub a certain amount of time in order for them to, and they still put them gloves on to do the surgery because there are microscopic bacteria that cannot be just killed with soap and water. Okay, so do not scratch your scalp when you're washing your hair. Use the ball tips of your fingers, okay, to massage. The massage helps with blood flow to get to your scalp. The blood flow will help your scalp and it wakes up your hair follicles, causing your hair to grow. So I focus on my scalp, right? Get that in good. Now, also, people focus too much on suds, especially on the first wash. You're not going to get a lot of that because you have debris and dirt and oil in your hair. So, and especially the oil, it's going to break that suds down. And you just make sure you massage because that's going to break all of that up. Then you're going to rinse it out thoroughly. Now, that's the difference with locks. Locks are like little baby sponges. So when you rinse, you run the water on it and you squeeze and you run and squeeze and run and squeeze until you see clarity come from your locks when you squeeze and it's not soap anymore. It's like cleaning out a sponge. You can't just run water on it and whatever's in it is gone. You have to make sure you squeeze all of it out, right? Second time I wash, again, I put more shampoo, but now I work my way down about here, leaving about that much of my ends. Now I'm working it through and making my way down. Give it a good wash. Since I have length now, I do this. You know how when we used to back in the day, used to wash something by hand, and we do that. That helps break anything up that's in my locks, right? Rinse it out thoroughly. Rinse, squeeze, rinse, squeeze. Finally, the last wash, I concentrate down here, and I still put just a little bit up here. I don't need that much because my hair is already clean up here. I'm just reinforcing, making sure that it's thoroughly cleansed. And I keep massaging. Every single cycle, I'm going to massage my scalp just to stimulate it so I get blood flow going up there. But the rest of it, I'm going to clean down and, and do all the stuff and everything. Rinse it out really good. Now, here is the part with washing your locks that a lot of people make a massive mistake. If you're in the shower or in the sink, it don't matter. Take a few minutes and let gravity do its job. And just let the water run through, right? And as it's doing that, you're just going to go down and squeeze. Do not wring out your hair. Go start at the roots and squeeze. And open and loosen your hands, move down a little more and squeeze. And open a little more and come down and squeeze. And you're going to repeat that like 2 or 3 times and you just let it drip a little bit. Let it drip, right? Because if you don't, again, another reference video I'm going to put down in my description, lock ride. You're not properly letting your hair dry. Get as much water out of your hair before you put your towel on your hair. Next, after you come out, you're going to use, I like to use microfiber towels. This is one of my 15 towels that I have. And I have another 5 or 6 coming. But why I have so many? Because I have clients. And this is what I use to dry the hair. Almost none of my clients sit under the dryer. So this is it, right? Put it on your hair. I like to use 2 of these. I put the first one on. I keep it on for about 10 minutes or so. Then I take it off, right? Fan out my hair. I spray it a little bit with some refresher spray. And then I put my second towel on. And I keep that one on for a little bit longer. Then I take it out. And the rest of it, I let it air dry. The key to properly washing your locks is thoroughly rinsing it so there's no debris or residue left and thoroughly drying it properly. Those are the 2 key factors when you are washing your locks to make sure you get it all. And don't be lazy with thoroughly, clean it. Don't just do this. You got to get in there, right? Get in there and clean your locks. Okay. Now, when you have starter locks, you don't got to be going all crazy and buck wild like that. Okay. It's when they're longer and they're hanging and they're rubbing on things and stuff like that. Stuff can get in your hair. Now, generally, when I go out, I wrap my hair up and I cover it because I don't want a whole lot of debris and stuff getting in my hair. And I especially don't like people touching my hair without my consent. And it seems as my locks got longer, people felt more comfortable with doing that. I don't know why, but you need to stop. Please, respectfully. And so that's the proper way of washing your hair. So make sure you do that, okay? Let's go to the comments. We got 2 more comments. Donna Lee is talking about her hair again. I do, but the parting is driving me up the wall. I feel like I'm going to lose some of them. Okay, because the parts are skinny. Again, just think it out. Think it through. If it's something you really want to go and start over, you can. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just make sure it's because you know it's a journey. You've been through it before, right? So just know that you're gonna go through a journey again. You'll be okay. I promise you that. So the next question I got was, how do I moisturize my locks? Again, like I said, a lot of the questions that I got was about locks. So I put some stuff here on my table, right? So on my table, I have my Made for Locks refresher spray. This one is jasmine scented. Now my favorite one is the rosemary peppermint, but I sprayed my hair with jasmine this morning, so I'm going to demonstrate with the jasmine today. So when it sprays, you see it's a light mist, right? You'll also notice that when I'm spraying, I'm not right up on top of my head. I gave it a little distance. The reason for that is to allow it to rain down on my head, right? So that's the first thing that I do. I put the refresher on my hair. Now, my scalp, during the summertime especially, I get dryness. So I use the aloe vera refresher spray, also by Made for Life, right? And it's in a pump. And I'm only going to just demonstrate a little because I just put some on this morning. So I separate my hair. Now, for one, I don't care about these neat parts. That's not my thing. That's not my aesthetic when it comes to my locks. I just want my locks healthy. So I put my refresher spray on there, and then I seal in the moisture using the oil spray, right? Again, I'm not right up on top of my hair. I allow the oil to spread and fall down on my hair. So gravity is your friend when it comes to it. Now, moisturizing your hair does not mean you need to make your hair soaking wet. Locks are not jerry curls. So you don't have to be sitting down on people's couch and you get up, their couch is stained with jerry curl juice. But if you think about it, if you ever went outside in the rain and it's misty, and you see how the mist from the rain kind of beads up a little bit and looks like this gray on your hair, that's kind of how you want to moisturize your hair. Not to that capacity because you don't want it that wet, but as you see it, as it starts, you'll see it kind of there, beat it up on your hair. Also, with moisturizing your hair, it depends on your hair porosity. So like if I have medium hair porosity, so it doesn't take much for me to penetrate my hair with moisturizer. So as you see what I just did there, generally I do that a few times a day during the summer months. In the winter time, I can get away with doing it once because medium porosity hair does retain water for a good amount of time. So does low porosity hair. But the challenge of low porosity hair is actually getting moisture to penetrate the hair to begin with, because the cuticles on low porosity hair is flat. So one of the good ways of helping low porosity hair open up, the cuticles open up a little bit, so that when you do a moisturizing routine, is when you take a shower, wrap your hair up like so that it's not hanging on your neck or shoulders, and allow the steam for when you take your shower to help open up your cuticles. That way, when you do a moisture routine using your refresher spray, it'll be easier for you to get that refresher spray to penetrate your hair. And as your hair starts to dry, the cuticles will close up, but that moisture from the refresher spray is still within the cortex of your hair. So low porosity hair does hold on to moisture for a longer period of time once you penetrate the hair. So it's very important to be sure to open the cuticles up so that moisture can get in there. High porosity hair is the hardest hair to maintain moisture with, and it would probably take more than just a liquid based refresher spray to keep high porosity hair from dehydrating and drying out. The reason for it is because the cuticles are like really, literally wide open. It's like as if I took a drink of water and just started talking while the water was in my mouth. The water just falling back out of my mouth. So just as fast as high porosity hair absorbs water, it dehydrates and becomes dry again. So higher density moisturizers like leave-in cream moisturizers will probably be more effective with high density hair. Okay. So keep that in mind. It's very tricky when it comes to locks because it's a matter of not using too much because it can burrow down and build up into your locks. So you have to be very careful with that. Okay. I have some questions in the comments. Okay. Vanessa. She's like, yeah, not Jerry Curl Juice. Yeah, Jerry Curl Juice. Child. Y'all remember coming to America, right? When Reggie's parents and grandmother got off the couch and and I would have beat their ass if they were sitting on my couch and stained my couch up like that. So Donna Lee said, is it possible to try and make a larger part for skinny ones, like taken from another lot? Not without cutting the hair away. You would have to like cut the hair or break it to move it from one lock to the other, because that's the only way you can really kind of detach it from the root end. Yeah. I'm not sure how comfortable you are with that, but that's the only way that I can think of doing it from that end. You know, I've seen people do it. Or what they wound up doing, like with the shorter pieces of hair that they took from the other lock, they crochet it into the new lock. So that is the way I would do it if that was a request. Yeah, that Jerry Curl Juice. Jerry Curl Juice. You don't know how that would work. It would work. I've done it before. Not something that I would recommend everybody do, because it's a lot, you know. And sometimes if you think a lot, you know, about the fact that happened, you know, it'll stay kind of stuck in your mind. So that's why I said you got to be careful with some of the things. So a lot of times people, they want like certain repairs or certain things done, and then once it's done, they can't stop thinking about it and thinking it's going to come loose, and you don't want something that's going to, you know what I mean? Yeah. Hey, Greg, can you come in for a sec? Okay, what's the difference between palm roll twist and interlocking? Give me a second. Open the top of my table and give me that rectangular silver tin. Thank you. And that bag that got the hooks. Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so to answer your question, I'm going to do a little small demonstration. So, difference between interlocking and palm roll twist. A palm roll twist generally is, I'm going to use a little bit of mousse to demonstrate the palm roll, because I'm not trying to, little mousse, right? So, palm roll twist is you put something at the root of your lock, whether it's mousse, which is what I use, pomade, locking gel, water and oil, whatever. And a palm roll is generally you put your lock between. Okay, I'm for the sake of this, I'm going to come forward so you can see it on camera. You just literally are rolling the lock between your fingers, right? And then you anchor it into place. I'm unraveling that because I don't want to twist it in this direction and then flip it back. Be pulling my hair out from the root. So that's generally what a palm roll is. Now, I'm going to demonstrate over here. So see this lock here? I'm going to demonstrate on this lock doing an interlock. Interlock is generally, you're just passing your hair underneath at the base of the lock. There are two ways you can use, well, I have two tools with me that I'm going to demonstrate. I'm not demonstrating with this one because I don't like using this on myself. I don't use it on other people. But you can use a latch hook, loop hook, right? That comes with the little, right? I'm gonna do this. And this little tin can, I keep my interlocking threading pins too. So this is one. This is another one. This one I recommend for a person that is doing their own. So this one, the reason why I said their own, because you see how it has the little crescent shape right here? It helps you to feed it through and not stab yourself. And it, comes out. So it's shaped very similar to a weave needle, right? I also have another one that's kind of sideways. Same thing. You have the little curve, and this is the little eye that you feed your lock through, like so, right? And then I have a large one for large locks. So this one is straight. So this is one I would use, but I don't recommend a person use on themselves. What? Yeah. So generally, to demonstrate, you take the end of your lock, you thread it through, and I don't thread it all the way through. I just thread the end of it through like this, right? Use your thumb on your lock. So line your thumb up with your lock so that when you push the pin through, if it's in the middle of your thumb, that means it went through the middle of your lock, right? See how I fed that through the base of the lock? And now I'm going to put my thumb on this side of the lock, and I'm going to feed my lock through here. Generally, I find the middle of my thumb and pull it through, right? And I have room for one more. You can always feel how much space you have before you can pass it through. So the last time, I'm going down. And as you see, I kind of had to wiggle my lock to bring it through. You see how it's tight all the way to my root. So that's interlocking. Now this is instantly in place. No matter what I do with it, it's not going to unravel or unwind. Generally, a lot of my corporate clients like to opt for interlocking because it helps their locks to stay in place for longer. And they don't deal with the unraveling and extra frizziness from the puffiness and stuff that happens from palm roll. So interlocking generally is more convenient. It's more of a convenient way of locking your hair, and it lasts longer. Like this particular lock, I'm not going to have to touch it for a number of months. It's all the way down to my very bottom, and it's got a little tightness to it. It's not too tight because you don't want to make it too tight. Now the thing about interlocking is if your hair is breaking or damaged in any way, you definitely do not want to interlock your hair. Make sure that your roots are healthy and not breaking or any of that stuff. Because I've seen people do the interlock and any hair that's broken away, they just wrap it. Big mistake. You're going to cause even more friction because that's causing too much tension on the little bits of hair that's left over. So interlocking is okay, but it has to be done on healthy hair that's not breaking or dry or brittle. Make sure the hair is not damaged. If it's damaged, stick to soft palm rolling. What I mean by soft palm rolling, even with palm rolling, you do not want to over twist too hard. Because again, we talked about traction alopecia the last time we had been on Locs Talk Live together. And what causes it is tension and pulling. And it really does not take a lot of tension and pulling for that to happen. So make sure when it comes down to doing interlocking, don't interlock it so tight that you feel it pulling, right? Don't palm roll it so tight that you feel it pulling. And a lot of times when people get the palm roll retwist, they like to style their hair. That's fine. Protective 2-strand twist styles, braids, barrel twist, the bone braid, the French braid, all of those are great, but make sure you're not pulling too tight, because if it's pulling too tight, you can lead to traction alopecia. And the last thing you want to do is lose your edges. Don't pull too tight when you're retwisting your hair. So that's the difference. One is twisting, the other is passing it underneath, kind of weaving it together to hold the lock in place. This is generally how sister locks are maintained as well. And that's how interlocking was kind of publicized or became more popular when it comes to traditional locks. Because generally before sister locks came on the scene and took over, everybody pretty much with locks were palm rolling and twisting, or they was just leaving it alone and letting it grow. Okay, another comment. The root not thickening. Okay, we'll talk about that, Donnelly. Okay, what's the best way to dry my locks? We talked about that, right? Allow gravity to do its job first and foremost, and gently squeeze. Never wring the hair out because that can tear and pull your hair, right? Then, using a micro towel, you can wrap it up. Let the micro fibers of the towel really pull that moisture out of your hair. Now, if you're in a hurry and like you waited until late in the day and it's time for bed, don't go to bed with your hair damp and wrapped up, because you're going to wake up with your hair damp and probably start to smell, because bacteria grows where there's moisture and heat. Your head generates the heat. The moisture's in your hair, again, leading to lock rot. So you want to make sure you thoroughly dry your hair properly. If you need to dry it, it is absolutely a must. You can use a dryer, but set it too low. Do not use a hot dryer when you're drying your hair, because that can dehydrate your hair. Okay, so that is how you properly dry your locks. It's okay. It's still going to take time with a dryer. It's just going to speed up the process since you have to go to bed. Okay, but set it to low. Don't put the dryer on high. Okay. Do locks smell? Yes and no. Generally, no, they do not smell. Why I said yes? If you're not drying your locks properly, mold will start to grow. Bacteria will start to grow, and that shit stinks. If you have bacteria in your locks and or in your scalp, because again, you scratching the crap out of your scalp with your nails, bacteria is there. If you start to sweat and perspire, and you let that perspiration dry without treating your scalp, which generally I like to tell people to use witch hazel, dilute it with water, right? Or the aloe vera refresher spray, which also contains witch hazel, and spritz your scalp with it before the sweat dries. It will help kill the bacteria, because the witch hazel is a natural antibiotic agent. You can also use diluted apple cider vinegar to do the same. What happens is it kills that bacteria, and you will not have that smell. So that smell, that dirty mop smell, that sour smell, that comes from bacteria growth. And that can happen. That's why I said yes and no. If a person is not properly caring for their hair, drying it properly and things like that, hell yes, your locks can smell. The same thing can happen to your natural hair. That can happen if you got braids. It will smell if you are not drying it properly, if you're leaving it moist and then you wrapping it up while it's moist. If you're sweating while you got bacteria in your scalp because you've been scratching the hell out of your scalp and you didn't treat it, that can also cause, yes, it can absolutely cause your hair to get bacteria, and the bacteria is what makes the hair smell. Yeah. Next question. I know before I put this up on the banner, people will be like, what the hell kind of dumb question it is? It's not a dumb question. Can water damage my hair? In the comments, before I answer, what do you think? Can water damage your hair? I'll wait a couple of minutes. Can your hair be damaged by water? Comment, comment, comment. Simple yes or no. You don't need to explain. Just put a Y or N. Can water damage your hair? In the comments. Y or N. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. You scared to answer the question? Okay. Lisa said yes, too much can. Anybody else brave enough to answer the question? Yes, because of pollutants in the water. Okay. All right. So Lisa said yes, too much can. Donna Lee said yes, because pollutants in the water. So to answer the question, can water damage my hair? Absolutely. Now, while Donna Lee's answer is correct because it depends on if there's pollutants in the water, that is one, yes. But primarily, you can break down and drown out your hair. Your hair can become weaker because too much water has been absorbed and pulled into the cortex of your hair. That's how water can damage your hair. Also, so the answer to that is generally more so scientifically, it can damage your hair based on what Lisa said. Too much water can definitely damage your hair, right? Because if you absorb too much water, which is why a lot of people like to do a pre-poo on their hair before they wash their hair. A pre-poo is a mixture of oil and conditioner that creates a little bit of a shield so your hair is not absorbing too much water, because your hair can over absorb water. And because of that, it can cause your hair to become more frail and weak and break easily. So that is why the answer is yes. But to touch more on what Donna Lee said, because of pollutants, that is also a factor that water can damage your hair, right? Because pollutants can not only change and increase the pH level of water, which is already higher than your hair is in its natural state. The pollutants that's added in that water can cause damages to your hair. Hard water also can cause your hair to become very dry and brittle and dehydrated, because again, hard water is mixed in with different elements and pollutants that will cause damage to your hair. So the answer that both of you gave was correct. Yes, water can damage your hair. Be very careful. This is why I use filtered water when I'm washing my hair. When I'm making sprays with mixtures of essential oils and things like that, I use distilled water. The purpose why I use distilled water is because mold that generally does not grow within distilled water. So it makes it easier for me to make it. I can make it in small batches. I don't make large batches of anything. I think when I make any sprays for my hair, it's always in batches of 4 ounces, because I do not want, I don't add preservatives to the sprays that I make with my essential oils. So it has to be a small enough amount for it to be used within the grace period of time that I need to use it, right? Because it's all natural with no preservatives, right? So be very careful about when you doing your hair. Generally, one of the reasons why I said, before I wash my hair, we're going to go into it. Never mind. We have another comment here. Lisa said, it's like a plant. If you overwater a plant, you will kill it. If you drink too much damn water, you can die. So too much water is damaging. Absolutely. Okay. Moving into the next question. How often can I do a hot oil treatment? You could do a hot oil treatment as often as once a week. Yeah. Like, You know, I tell people, oil your hair no more than 2 or 3 times a week. If you're doing a hot oil treatment, you don't have to do like too much oil treatment on your hair. But the hot oil treatment gives your scalp and your hair enough oil to last the week. I generally, with a hot oil treatment, because I put oil on my hair during my moisture routine, I do a hot oil treatment once per month, which leads me into the next question. Can I do hot oil treatments on your locks? Absolutely. Yes, you can. A lot of people think they can't. Here's the problem though. People are using the wrong oils when they're doing it. You cannot use heavy, dense ass oils when you're doing a hot oil treatment on your lock. A lightweight oil. I like to use a lightweight carrier oil like jojoba or coconut oil, and with a mixture of different essential oils, and I put it in. And I put mine in a spritz bottle and I spray it on my locks. It helps it spread easier. Of course, you got to do it while your hair's wet. I like to do it before I wash my hair. Again, so my hair is not being drowned when I wash my hair. So I put it on my locks. Then I wrap my hair around my head like a turban, put my plastic cap on, and I do have a heating cap. And I'll sit there for about a half hour with my heating cap on and let it do its thing. And once that happens, I take it out and I wash my hair like I normally do. Sometimes I'll do a hot oil treatment after I've washed my hair. It depends on my mood and what I feel like doing. But you can do hot oil treatments as much as once a week. Yes. And you can do it on your locks. Absolutely. I understand, Donna Lee. She says she wants to buy a filtered water shower head, but home circumstances just won't let that happen. Can I wash and moisturize my hair while it is braided or twisted, and will it make my hair lock? If your natural hair is braided and or twisted, yes, you can wash your hair while those are in, whether you have extensions or not. Preferably, especially when you have extensions and you like to do the little swoopy things in the front, that edge control needs to be washed out. You don't have to wash your head, but you need to wash that shit out, because if it builds up and gets clogged in your hair follicles, when you take your braids out, your edges is coming out with it. So yes, you can wash it. Will it lock? No. It can only lock if you leave your braids and twist in for way too long. And it has nothing to do with the fact that you was washing it. It's the fact that you kept it in for so long. Okay? Because time is of the essence when it comes to locking hair. And if you have lockable hair, like up there in the 4Cs area, don't go past the grace period. How long you should keep braids or twisting your hair, which leads to the next question. What is the recommended amount of time should I leave in braids? When you are braiding your hair, generally most of us braid our hair for protective style. Yes, we want the pretty style, but we also want to protect our hair. And again, generally protecting your hair protective styles is generally put in to protect the ends of your hair. So also make sure when you're putting them in, if you have damaged ends, snip off that damage before you put the protective style in. Otherwise, the damage that's there is going to keep damaging your hair, whether your hair is braided or not. Take the damaged hair away. Stop salvaging damaged hair, because they ain't going to do nothing for you. You're still going to lose it. You're just prolonging hair loss and probably increasing the amount of hair you're going to lose because you're trying to salvage length. I know it's hard. Pray on it, but let it go. Okay? The recommended amount of time for natural braids and twists or extension braids and twists is 6 to 8 weeks. Any longer than that, you stand the risk of different things happening to your hair, such as your hair locking, bacteria, hair loss, traction alopecia. All those things are factors. They become increased after that period of 6 to 8 weeks. The grace period goes up to about 10 weeks, but after that, you need to take it out. And make sure if you're going to get another reinstalling, take it out a week before you get it redone so that you can let your scalp rest and heal. I have in the past had clients that I have regular clients that I do crochet braids on, and they'll keep it in for that recommended amount of time, and then they'll make their appointment. And the thing is, they'll make their next appointment with me 2 to 3 weeks prior to them coming back to get them done again. And when they come, oh, I'm sorry, my hair's damp. I just took it out last night. Baby, you gotta let your scalp rest. You don't want that tension on there right after you took it out. Give yourself some time. I don't feel comfortable rebraiding hair that just got taken out 24 hours ago. Your scalp needs time to and rest and then contract and just come back to normal again. That's like, you know how with women, when we have our babies and they tell you, well, you got to let your body heal before you. This is why a lot of women like to try to wait 2 years and give their body the time to really heal before they have another baby, because your risk increase, when you come back too soon. And I'm not saying that, I'm not speaking against anybody who has kids that's like a year apart and back to back to back. That's fine. But it is a fact that if you had your children close together, your doctor told you it's a higher risk because your body is still healing from the last time you gave birth. Let's not play like we didn't know that. But if that's what you choose to do, you have every right to do that. It's your body. Do you, boo? But keep in mind that when you run that risk, it's a risk. You don't want to increase that, right? Vanessa, yeah, you're still on. Yeah, I'm still here, girl. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here, girl. So if you have questions, put them in there, okay? Okay, so the next question was, when you say moisturize, how moist should my hair be? I think I answered this question like half hour ago, right? So generally, I don't know if you can see that, but see how it's kind of beaded up on my hair? That's it. That's it. And then you use your fingers in the down. I like to rake my fingers through my locks in the downward motion, generally even from the root. The reason why downward motion is because you go up this way, your fingers wind up, especially if you got new growth, your fingers wind up going in between your locks and you can risk breaking the locks. Downward motion, that won't happen because you can kind of feel with the tips of your fingers where you're going, right? So that is the answer to that question. Vanessa. Okay, Vanessa says, hi, distractible me. Yes, she said you got to let that breathe and reset. Wait, Donnelly. So when I was talking about the babies, Donnelly, you are not. She said, and that's why I'm getting a dog. You know what? I'm not even mad at you for that, girl. I'm not mad at you for that. I'm not mad at you for that. I'm not mad at you for that. I hear you. For real, for real. So Vanessa said, I stopped scratching my scalp because of you. I used the aloe vera and witch hazel refresher. Yes, girl, let me tell you. Good evening, distractible me. She says good evening, everyone. She said, yes, water can damage your hair. Okay. Vanessa, she ain't playing. She said, let me go back and answer these damn questions. She said, let me catch me up. Okay, so that's what it was. When you're moisturizing your hair, getting back to this question, when you're moisturizing your hair, it should not be dripping wet. like I said earlier, we ain't talking about jerry curls. Jerry curls require quite a bit of activator to keep that joint from drying out and just falling up your head. If any of you in here, put a Y in the chat if you've ever seen Hollywood Shuffle with Keenan Ivory Wayans and Robert Townsend, and there was a little skit, the Jerry Curl skit. Put a Y in the chat if you've seen that. That's probably the funniest shit I ever seen ever when it came to hair. And I'm going to tell you why. So Keenan Ivory, if y'all know In Living Color or any of the Wayans, Damon, Marlon, Sean, all of them beautiful Wayans people, you will know that Keenan Ivory Wayans was in Robert Townsend's first major film that he did, Hollywood Shuffle. And it was just a series of different skits, right? And it was one particular part of the movie where Keenan Ivory Wayans, he was playing this thug. And if you know anything about LA, back in the day, everybody had a jerry curl. Ice Cube, Eazy-E, all of them had their jerry curls, right? And it required, if you ever seen how a jerry curl, the kit comes with all these different things, and in the area, you have all these different moisturizers that you have to put in your hair in order to maintain that curl. If it gets dry, say goodbye to your hair. Say goodbye to your hair. Jerry curl hair is one of the highest porosity hair that requires constant moisture. Your hair have to be dripping ass wet in order for you to keep that jerry curl in you. You cannot be walking around with no moisturizer in your hair when you got a jerry curl. So he played this thug, right? And they was about to fight. And I think, back in the day, if you know about breaking and breakdancing and stuff, we used to battle on the street. That was our way of fighting. We either fought, one-on-one with the hands, or we did dance battles and stuff like that. So they had this song, Curl, Curl, do the Jerry Curl, and all that stuff, right? And what happened was he was tough as hell as long as his curls was moisturized. But his challenger, the person he was trying to fight, which was Robert Townsend, took his activator and threw it on the ground and poured it out. And he didn't have any more activator, so he's on the ground trying to pick up the activator and put it in his hair. And literally in seconds, his hair dried out, and it was like he just went bald. He had no hair on his head. So you don't need to moisturize your hair to that capacity. That takes a lot of chemical treatment to get your hair to the point where you have to moisturize it on that level. Your natural hair, your locks or your natural loose hair does not require a high dripping wet level of moisture. Moisture is generally, like Lisa said, watering your plant. Give it enough moisture to make it happy. If you've ever seen a plant that needs watering and the leaves go like this, but after you water it, all of a sudden the leaves are just like, and they just up and they firm and they're nice and they're happy. That's what you're doing when you are moisturizing your hair. You're watering your plant, right? So if you're watering your plant, your hair is going to go from being like this to it's going to swell up and just, do its thing. That's why moisturizing your hair is very important. But it's also important to make sure you maintain the pH level of your hair. So it's a lot of factors in there when it comes down to moisturizing. You don't need a whole lot. A little bit goes a long way, right? Distractible me. Oh my God, jerry curls. Yes, I saw Hollywood Shuffle, the splash act. Yes, that shit was funny as hell. I will never forget how funny that is. Man, listen. Okay, this is a question that Aaliyah asked. I didn't see her in the chats today. I don't know if she's on today. But she asked this. She sent this question to me. She said, I have refresher spray for my locks. can I add a few drops of essential oils to my refresher sprays? The answer is yes, you can. You can add essential oil to your refresher spray. Yeah. Now, you have to be mindful. Now, refresher sprays, they come in these 8-ounce bottles. So it's eight fluid ounces in here, right? So if you look up how many drops of whatever essential oil you plan on putting in your refresher spray, you look up how many drops can you put per ounce, and then you multiply that by 8. So my last bottle I had added lavender oil to it because I love the smell of lavender. Um, I also added rosemary essential oil to my rosemary and peppermint refresher spray to strengthen the scent of rosemary because I love the smell of rosemary. I also put thyme oil in there, THYME. Um, all of these are really good for growth. Rosemary oil, lavender oil, thyme oil, cedarwood also, right? To name a few. But there's a lot of different oils that help with natural hair growth, right? So to answer that question, if you have refresher spray by Made for Locs and you want to add a few drops of essential oil to your Made for Locs, you absolutely can. However, when you're spraying it, and the Made for Locs refresher spray does not come with this nozzle. This nozzle came from a bottle of sprays from a different line that I was using, and I kept the nozzles because I just like these more. So that's why I have this on here because I really like this, and I don't know where I can get this nozzle, so I switched them out when I buy new bottles of refresher spray from Made for Locs. I am going to put the link for Made for Locs down in my description, so if you want to purchase yours, like I said, the refresher sprays come in different scents. Just as jasmine, they have one that's peppermint and rosemary. Another one is lemon and orange zest, and they also have an aloe vera refresher spray. The aloe vera refresher spray I definitely recommend for the summer months, and if you work out on a regular basis and you sweat, you want to get that because it has the aloe in it. It helps increase the moisture as well as the witch hazel that help fights against any bacteria that may start growing in your hair because you're sweating, right? Now, I also have like my essential oils. If I want to, not essential oils, but the regular oil. And if I want to add extra, yeah, I'll put a few drops in there. Yeah. And then I have my own spray that I made too, that I put my essential oils in. But if you have refresher spray, you can put essential oil in it. You can even add some drops of essential oil into your shampoo if that's what you want to do. Like some of my shampoos, I put some drops of tea tree oil in it because I have some clients that need that excess treatment with tea tree oil. So I put it in some of my shampoos, not all of them, just a couple. And I use it just for those clients. So going back to the comments. You can you can taste it. Yeah. Okay. Now we're moving into more questions about natural locks. What does going natural mean to you, Pammie? Now this is a question the person asked of me. I have a different view of what going natural means. For me, going natural meant more than me returning to my normal texture and my roots, my natural hair. Um, for me, going natural meant unsubscribing to beauty standards and letting go a lot of those things. Like I started graying very early in my life. I was in my 20s when I started graying. So coloring my hair was not something that was new to me. But I didn't like putting a whole bunch of colors in my hair. I specifically liked different shades of red. I have a fondness of redheads. So I used to color my hair red often. If you look at the ends of my hair, you can still kind of see, you know, tints of the red in there. But red, 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 red. It was my color. because I just wasn't ready to accept my gray hair yet because I was young. But that's because I was associating gray hair with age. And honestly, my hair was graying because of genetics. Had nothing to do with my age. Clearly, I was in my 20s, so it definitely did not have anything to do with my age. So this is something that happened for me over a number of years. It started with me choosing not to process my hair anymore. However, I did not let go of straightening my hair using alternative methods other than chemically straightening my hair with a relaxer. So going natural for me was more than just cutting off my processed hair and growing out my natural hair. It was a process of different things. I'll go in more into that as we continue on with these questions. Is a big chop the only way to go natural again? If not, what are some of the other options of going natural? The answer, no. The big chop is not the only way of going natural again. However, I want to add this. If somebody ever tells you that they can put your texture back into your hair, they are lying to you. If your hair is texturized and or relaxed with a perm or have a jerry curl, you cannot remove what those chemicals did to your hair once it's done. The only way to deprocess chemically treated hair is to remove it, and that means cutting it away. However, a big chop is not the only way of doing that. Oftentimes, people want to grow their hair out a certain length, and they can cut it a little bit at a time. But generally, over time, you have to remove and cut off the hair. It does not have to be all in one shot. Lisa can attest to this. When I had started working on her hair was chemically treated, and I was cutting away little bits at a time as her hair grew out. Once her hair reached the length that was comfortable for both of us to work with, I cut off the remaining processed hair. And now she's 100% natural. I love her hair, especially when she takes it out. I call her Viola because I love how her afro looks when she takes her hair out. All right, Viola, let's do this. So yeah, I love, 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 love her natural hair. She has beautiful natural hair. Um, but I made it comfortable for her. I did not want to give her the shock of saying I'm gonna just hack it off. Now, there are specific times where that is absolutely necessary and must be done. If the chemically processed hair is severely, like seriously damaged, and your hair has begun to grow out, you need to cut all of that shit off, because if you don't, that damaged hair is going to continue to go into your natural hair and start damaging your natural hair as well. So that is a time when the big chop is absolutely 100% necessary. Cut that shit off. Is it a requirement? No. But under the circumstances of severe damage, you need to do a big chop. Right? Okay? Is there a difference between going natural and reverting back to my hair texture? Now, this question I feel like is more based on one's vision and opinion and perspective of what natural is and reverting back to texture. But I'm going to answer from my perspective and my opinion. This is not etched in stone, so they're going to preach it saying, Pammie said X, Y, and Z, so you're wrong. Do not get in arguments with people with the information you got from me. Because if somebody come in here and come for me with some bullshit because somebody was arguing about what I said, listen, do you, I do me. I'm not here to argue. I don't do drama, and I don't engage in that. So please, whatever you take from this, take that for you. Don't use it as debatable material for somebody else and try to challenge them based on what you learned from me. That's not what this education is about. This is for you, okay? But getting into what I said, I will use myself as an example. Again, I can tell you that I started my natural journey in January 2004. This was literally weeks after I gave birth to my second child. And The reason why I did it is because I went through everything naturally with him, from the pregnancy to the birth to wanting to nurse him 100% without bottles or anything. And I was like, I did all that. I didn't process my hair at all during the pregnancy or anything like that. So my hair had grown out significantly. So I had enough length where I was comfortable cutting off all of the processed hair and just sticking with my natural hair. However, like I said before, I continued to change and process my hair. I even reverted back to texturizing my hair to make it easier for me to maintain. Because sometimes, when I didn't have a lot of time on my hands to tend to my hair suffered for it, and my job was stressful, and that also contributed to my hair suffering. And I was a caregiver for my fatally ill sister. That's also a stress, and my hair paid for it. So I took a shortcut and did what I could to make my hair easier to manage. Texturizer completely destroyed my hair. Never put that shit in my hair again. Um, but I continued to color my hair on a regular basis. Um, Oftentimes, I would straighten my hair using high heat, flat ironing it, doing the silk press and stuff like that. And the heat from the flat iron caused heat damage. Heat damage is irreversible. So I was cutting my hair often to get rid of the damaged hair. Right now, yes, there's ways to um, protect your hair and stuff, like I said, but my timetable was very limited. So I didn't have time to do all of that. And then in the summer, when it was convenient, I cut all of my hair off and was just like wash and go little curls and going about my way. However, with all that being said, I realized I still was not a person who I felt could call herself all natural, right? Because I still colored my hair, I still straightened my hair. When the going got tough, I turned to a texturizer, which eventually destroyed my hair. And did all these things. I used all of these hair products to slick my hair down, and things like that. And my scalp paid for that. I had massive great dermatitis flare-ups and stuff like that because I'm trying to tame and lay my hair down and all of this stuff. I said, I'm not natural. It takes more than just chopping off processed hair for me to call myself natural. So I started to think about locks, but that's something I thought long and hard about for years. I'm talking like 5.5 years before I actually went forward and locked my hair. I did not walk into this journey lightly. When I say I thought it through thoroughly, and this was a lifetime commitment I was going into, it was like I developed a relationship and Locs courted me. And we committed to each other as if we got married. This is a lifetime commitment. The only way these are coming off is if it's a health issue and I have to cut them off. But that's all. They stay in. This is me. I may cut them shorter at some point so they can grow out longer because I don't want my locks dragging the ground. I don't need them that long. But all natural for me, continue to process. I locked my hair. So this is the most natural my hair is ever going to be. But that wasn't enough. I have to let go of these standards. My gray hair doesn't make me old. I'm as old as I act and feel, right? But as long as I'm young and here, I'm here, right? So I stopped coloring my hair and I started letting my gray hair grow in. Still wasn't enough. No more makeup. I stopped wearing makeup 5 years ago now. So it was gradual. Now I consider myself all natural. Completely. I don't wear any makeup. I don't wear like perfumes like that come in a little glass but that expensive. I don't wear that. I wear mixture of different oils if I want to wear that and stuff like that. But I am considered all natural. Reverting back to my natural roots and texture simply put me in a place where I was no longer chemically processing my hair, but I was able to do other things. I had found alternative ways to straighten my hair, like silk presses and stuff like that. So for me, there is a difference between all natural and just reverting back to your natural roots. Reverting back to your natural roots for me was simply just not chemically processing my hair anymore. So yeah, going to the comments. I have 5 comments up here. See, I went scissor happy, or you aren't confirming to with the rest. Snip, snip. Yeah, some people do get scissor happy. I was scissor happy when I did when I reverted back to my natural texture as well. I just cut it all off, all the way down to the new growth. Straight ends, snip. And a lot of times those straight ends, even if you have natural hair, if you see people with straight ends, that's heat damage. It looks very much like how the hair looked when you had processed hair. Very same, similar, okay? Donnelly said my great-grandfather would what? His around his arm? Oh, wrap his around his arm. Okay. That's long. That's some long locks to wrap it around. Oh man, that's some long locks. Jeez. Final question. How can I help keep my frizz tamed without having to retwist my locks? So my locks, I'm about a little more than 3 months since I last retwisted my hair. You can see like little pieces of my hair sticking up, right? How I maintain my frizz is with the lock mousse. It's flaxseed. It's very soft. It's not one of those that's going to make my hair all crunchy and nothing like that. Put it on my hands. Right? Put it on my hair. And it smells delicious. It smells so good. And a soft boar head brush. I like this because it also has the curve on it. And a soft boar hair is all you need. You don't need no hard bristle brush. Hard bristle brushes also contribute to traction alopecia. Why? Because it causes damage to your hair follicles. So as you see, my locks here are not crazy or frizzy because I brush my locks with a soft boar's hair brush. Lock brushing was something that I didn't know about until 3 years ago. A friend of mine told me about it. From one of the other brands that I use, Peculiar Roots. The owner of that brand introduced lock brushing to me. And I was like, what? Lock brushing? Now, I'm not the person that's going to be like, oh, no, that's against the rules. I know because I'm the professional. No. I will try it first. I will research it and all of that stuff. And when I did, I was like, oh, I'm telling everybody this. But I am not taking credit for it because, again, up until 3 years ago, I never heard of lock brushing. Really didn't. And it made all the difference. If you saw my locks prior to 3 years ago, this frizziness up here was freaking nuts, which is why I retwisted my hair a little bit more often because I had a job and I had to still look presentable and decent at my job. You can't be just going to work and not for me. So yeah, again, that was my mindset 4 years ago. So my all natural, this is my closing remarks. My all natural is just me embracing my authentic self. I love that my hair is this long so I can do this. Wintertime, baby. Who need a scar? I don't need no damn scar. This is me in the wintertime. Don't play with me. So, if you got locks and you're growing them out, make sure they get long enough so you can be warm in the wintertime. They work as earmuffs and a scar. You ain't never have to wear one again. But embracing your authentic and natural self is important. It is. It really is. It really is. Whatever that is. And I'm not saying don't be like me, don't wear makeup, none of the stuff. No. Do you. By all means. This is my choice for me, and just accepting what you see is what you get. What you see, what you see, what you see is what you get. Y'all remember that song? Man, I love that song. That's one of my favorite songs. It's like a theme song for me these days. Okay. But this is who I am. All of me as I am. Accept it or don't accept it. That's okay. You know. Will I ever wear makeup again? Depends on the occasion. Maybe. Maybe not. But that's okay too, right? Because to me, I love me as this, right? So if I ever were to wear makeup again, it's definitely not going to be for you. For me. For me, me, I. So with that being said, accept yourself, embrace yourself, love yourself. If you have any further questions, please put them in the comments. Lisa, why are you laughing at me, girl? So yeah, yes, 100%, 100, 100, 100, 100. Donna Lee, she got me really in a place where I do even more to take care of my skin because I'm natural. I got to take care of my skin. I can't have my shit looking wrecked. And the fact that I'm perimenopausal, I've been going through some crazy changes with my skin. So I really have to pay attention to those things. So I thank you, Donna Lee, for the education and information that you have given me on how to keep my skin well hydrated and taken care of and things like that. I even have a face steamer and everything. Y'all saw that video that I put, that little video short. So if there are no more questions, I want to say thank you for joining me tonight for live Q&A. We talked for almost 2 hours. Jesus. This is the longest Locs Talk Live that I've had. I got a great set of questions that was sent to me, and I'm very happy. I hope that I was able to answer the questions that you all had asked. Wasn't very complicated, so I think that I think that it went well. So thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to go on Instagram for a little while for Locs Talk Live after chat. So if you want to swing over there with me, come on through. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I will see y'all next week for Locs Talk Live. And Donna Lee, thank you. Thank you all for showing up tonight and sitting with me for all this time. Have a great night. You too, Lisa.